Next up, we got one of our first player reactions. All right, now shout out to Joseph Vincent. If y'all want more player reactions, hit the like button and subscribe button. Today we got Megatron. Now y'all know I'm a Lions fan. I had to start with the Lions. You know what I mean? So we're gonna do Calvin. We're gonna do Barry Sanders. You know what I mean? We don't even do Matthew Stafford, even though he's a traitor, but he's still, you know, let's be honest, greatest Lions quarterback we ever had. You know what I mean? We didn't have that many. All right, so still check them out. You know what I'm saying? So let me know also too in the comments what other players I should react to. I got y'all. Let's just hop into it.
People can Google stats, so I'll let you do that at home, okay? But what I'm going to tell you about is what I've seen firsthand. And it's going to sound like I'm creating a fictional video game character.
He's still on fictional game.
Think about his speed, his size.
49-yard game with a 2-yard throw.
It's not how good is he, it's how great is he.
It's not how good is he, it's how crazy. That's A. That's A. And it's actually funny too, because I went to a Calvin Johnson camp. I actually met Calvin Johnson. I'm not gonna lie. I wonder if I can still find like a picture of what I took a picture of him. But I remember I was probably like 8 years old. You know, it was a Calvin Johnson camp. I remember it was a white. We had like a white jersey on, or like no, it wasn't a white jersey, but a white T-shirt. And I remember mine was like super big, had like an extra large. And I remember. Yeah, I remember. So shout out to Calvin Johnson. You know what I mean? And also too, and I met Barry Sanders. I'm not even capping, bro. I literally met Barry Sanders as well. He went to our school. He came to our school one time. I guess one of my friends won like a contest or something. So he literally came to our school, and it was crazy. You know what I'm saying? So you know when you meet a GOAT, it's like 10 times better.
Johnson, one story to follow for Detroit tonight.
You're talking about 4'3" and
Ooh!
237 pounds.
Ooh!
Speed, agility.
That's a beautiful sight.
Ooh!
Calvin Johnson go to work.
1,700 yards?
And 70 yards. 182 yards to break Rice's record for the most receiving yards in a single season in NFL history.
So he will, in your opinion, go down as the greatest receiver ever when all is said and done?
Yes, I do believe so.
Much like Jerry Rice,
And this is all against the Falcons. It's not even.
They can take a short pass and do a lot of damage with it. Fans in Detroit chanting Calvin.
All for Christmas the record. Marry me. Okay. Yo.
This man is clearly by far the most.
And we getting blew out 31-16 with the best player of all time on our team. This is insane.
He's just different.
Also, too, let me know y'all top receivers of all time. Oh, this is the record. Oh, this is the record game. Okay. Never mind. So he was doing. So he was doing all this in the record game. On top of that, he was doing crazy catches. Like I'm thinking these are like all-time highlights, and it just so happened to be against the Falcons. So just the night of him breaking the record, he's still making crazy catches. Like Calvin Johnson, yo. Calvin Johnson. Calvin Johnson, yo.
He was as hard working in the weight room as anybody we had. And
Yes, sir.
He bought in that this is going to make me better.
So this is exactly what I want to see. OG, what is his story? I do not know his story at all.
That's the thing. I didn't start.
Were you a scrub?
You could say I was a scrub at the time.
You was a what? You was a what? You was a what? Bro, man.
I was a scrub at the time.
What in the hell, bro? Bro, I've never seen anything like this. Never. And you know how bad of a pass this really is? So for him to actually catch this, oh my god. Calvin Johnson. Calm down. Yo.
In the 2007 NFL
What?
Draft, the Detroit Lions take wide receiver Calvin Johnson.
Pettigrew, I remember Pettigrew. can't guard him, bro. You can't guard him. You better put 4 people on him. Not 1, not 2. We need 4. Let's go, Lions.
He was blessed with a special stick when he was created. Set for Stafford, who goes out of the gun. And he has taken those skills and went from to great.
And that's another thing too. He's 6'5". How tall? Oh, look at it. He's I think like 6'5", 6'6". He's 6'5", 6'6". Then like 6'5". What is he? He ran. Oh my goodness. He ran a 4.3. He ran a 4.3. He ran a 4.3? A 4.3 at 6'5", 236 pounds? He's literally a human cheat code right here. This is a human cheat code. This is honestly our version of Bo Jackson. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Chat, let me know. Let me know. Would y'all rather have Calvin Johnson on your team, or would y'all rather have Bo Jackson on your team? Let me know. Let me know. Easy. Oh my god, I remember them face masks. Them face masks used to be so ugly back in the day. Number 46 face masks used to give me PTSD. Yo, stop grabbing his ass, yo, hey yo! No Diddy.
And I was seeing greatness every day.
Snap to Matthew Stafford.
And it's Thanksgiving Day, right?
Calvin Johnson leaping.
You know, I would say there's only a couple wide receivers in the NFL can make that catch because of
Calvin Johnson! Yo! Calvin, what in the fuck? Calvin, what in the... Calvin, how? How are you doing this? How are you doing this? Woo!
You know, I would say there's only a couple wide receivers in the NFL.
And number 45 didn't even... I'm thinking that he was going... Number 45 was going to hit him. He didn't even try to go for it. He honestly knew it's like running into a brick wall. Like, why would you ever try to put all your force into Calvin Johnson? Remember, he's not only just 6'5", 120 pounds. No, he's 6'5", 230. And he got strength. It's not like no easy hit, bro. It's not an easy hit.
I would say there's only a couple wide receivers in the NFL can make that catch because of his height. I don't know if there's a couple
wow,
that might
that's
be
insane.
Big time as well, but they ain't Megatron.
What do you say? What do you say?
There might be just one, and that's Calvin Johnson.
AJ Green, Antonio
Brown. So this is when AJ Green and Antonio Brown was in the league. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's literally right. AJ Green, I mean, he really amounted to. He's a good receiver. You know what I mean? Is he still playing today? I don't even know. He might still be playing today. If he's still playing today, then he definitely fell off because I don't even hear about him no more. But he was definitely good back in the day. And same with Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown, I was low-key Antonio Brown. Tony Toe Tap, I was a fan of him as well. You know what I mean? But they not Calvin Johnson. Like, they good in their own ways. But if you compare them to Calvin, nah, bro. Nah. See, Calvin's top. I put Calvin top 5 receivers of all time. Really top 2. And he ain't 2.
These boys, they're big time as well, but they ain't Megatron.
They're not Megatron.
They're not on his level.
Yo, they got clips of him getting hit off a quick slant. Whoa! And he's too fast. And he's fast on top of that.
Okay, reach, jumping ability. We've never seen anything like that. I've never seen a receiver like Calvin Johnson.
Yeah.
He's a new physical archetype.
Like, bro,
I don't know if he'll go.
You talk about wasted talent, bro. Honestly, this is a waste of talent, bro. We were still losing games with the best receiver in the league.
Hey, I actually forget his name is Calvin Johnson. I'm so used to calling him Megatron.
Calvin Johnson reaches out and makes the catch.
Honestly, bro, I feel like Calvin Johnson really can come back today. He probably still sweet. Tell him the Lions need him now. We gonna go to the Super Bowl. Oh! He's still going. He's still going. Bro, oh my god, he could score right there. What is this?
The size, the speed, the leaping ability.
We all know it's going to him. Easy. And honestly, some of these are still good throws by Matthew Stafford. This is a great throw right here by Matthew Stafford. Just right here, put it right in the pocket. You know what I mean? Now, the only thing about it is you're going to have to take this hit. You know what I mean? Now, honestly, you're 6'5", 230, you should be able to take this hit. You know what I mean? But honestly, like I always tell y'all, just because not a receiver, just because a quarterback throws the ball accurate to you, if he's still setting you up to get hit, let's be honest, that's not cool. Because you setting my mans up to get hit. They be thinking in their head like, you know, I'm not the one getting hit, so I don't care. You know what I mean? Now, even if this is a good pass, good ball placement, good accuracy, everything, he still got to...
Did you ever deal with concussion?
It's Calvin Johnson, so it's not going... It don't matter. It's Calvin Johnson. But if it was another just normal receiver that's not 6'5", 230, you know what I mean? They're dropping this, yo. They're dropping this.
Did you ever deal with concussion?
Yeah, I had a couple. Stopped at the 1-yard line. The Detroit Lions.
Wow.
I don't know how many I've had over my career, you know, but I've definitely had my fair share.
No timeouts left. Time is running.
If you had to guess.
Hey!
Yeah.
That's funny.
Calvin Johnson, 329 yards receiving.
Wait, what? 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 14 catches, 400 yards? Is this Madden? He averaged 23 yards. Okay. Okay. What in the bro? What is going on? These are literally Madden stats right here, bro. How is this? That's what I'm saying. How's a receiver got 400 yards, and yet we only won by 1 point? How? It's alright. It's okay. It's okay. We're gonna just, you know what I'm saying? You're still witnessing greatness right now.
I decided to retire based off of...
Then he retired early.
I decided to retire based off of the way my body felt.
The way my body felt. And he really want to say the Lions' ass. That's what he want to say.
Right.
You know, walking away in their prime.
Mm-hmm. This guy broke Jerry Rice's single-season record for receiving yards, and now has called it a career.
He said, "Throw it up to me. I do not care. I don't care."
Johnson has the most receiving yards and touchdowns.
Okay, that's another question, y'all. Who would y'all rather have? Game on the line, Calvin Johnson or Randy Moss? Hail Mary pass. Hail Mary pass. Calvin Johnson or Randy Moss? Let me know. Let me know in the comments. And that's against Charles Woodson. Charles Woodson don't have no chance. And he's smiling. Look, he's smiling. He's like, oh, this nigga too good. He too good. He too good. Oh, okay, let's see. He too good. Oh my God, you see all the goddamn white pearly whites in that motherfucker. Ah! You know he can't stop him. They know.
Has about a 42-inch vertical jump.
What do you think about people comparing you to Barry Sanders, saying I've had enough of this?
I've had enough.
See, he said it. He said it. I mean, it's not a. What is the word? It's not a.
See him coming down over 3 people.
Man, what, bro?
No
Stop.
doubt in my mind, he will go down as the best
Man,
receiver
stop.
to play this game.
That's what I'm talking about, bro. That's what I'm talking about. 1-on-1. I mean, Hail Mary, game on the line. I'm giving it to Calvin, bro. I'm giving it to Calvin. I don't care what nobody say. I'm giving it to Calvin. I'm giving it to Calvin. I got Calvin, bro. Now, you know, Randy's still a GOAT, but
is he the second best wide receiver in NFL history right now?
Nah, that's insane, bro. Next time. So wait, did he make an updated video?
We're tied at 23 and
after over 1,000 receptions.
from the third, DeLone fires to an open.
What is this? Oh, Steve Smith. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna try to see. Hold on. Let me pause real quick. Let me see if I can find a longer video. All right, find another video.
And is clearly by far the most gifted.
Too much of a goat to just end it off like that.
In the history of this league.
Holy shit! He really is 6'6". He really runs a 4.3, and he's really 240, every bit of it.
Slants, catch. Go balls, catch.
Whoa, what is that?
Whatever you
Whoa.
want to run, it was a catch. If Stafford feel like nobody was open, Calvin open.
He throwing it down.
Yeah.
There are plenty of legendary NFL receivers, but none have been as dominant as Calvin Johnson. And Megatron's legendary run with the Detroit Lions was just the final step in proving that he was simply unguardable. Because from the very first time he put on a helmet, he was already dominating. Johnson was born and raised in the outskirts of Atlanta. That prioritized their son getting a strong education. But considering Johnson was 6 feet tall in middle school, it became clear he had a special frame and a once-in-a-lifetime talent. Johnson went on to play for Sandy Creek High School, where he racked up an impressive 1,479 receiving yards and 18 TDs for the Patriots. He quickly garnered attention from college scouts, and college recruiting giant Rivals.com named him the top player in Georgia for the 2004 class. Despite his growing profile, Johnson committed to his hometown school, Georgia Tech, and suiting up for the Yellow Jackets allowed Johnson to play at the highest level, while also getting his education from one of the top schools in the Southeast. Then, in just his first few games with Georgia Tech, it was clear that the young Megatron was a problem. In his second ever collegiate game, Johnson tore up Clemson's secondary for 127 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns to lead a 28-24 victory. ACC defenses had a new monster to deal with, but Johnson was just getting started. He was named the ACC Rookie of the Year, totaling 837 receiving yards and 7 touchdowns. Johnson followed up with an almost identical campaign to make the first-team All-ACC list for a second year running. But both of those seasons were just teasers compared to his monstrous 2006 campaign. Johnson seemingly made history each week, bringing down 76 receptions for 1,202 receiving yards and 15 touchdowns. That season, Megatron was named the ACC Player of the Year, the winner of the Fred Biletnikoff Award for Best Collegiate Receiver, and set Georgia Tech records for most all-time receiving yards and touchdown receptions. After clearly establishing himself as the best receiver in college football, Johnson could only go up. So he decided to forego his senior season and announced his plans to enter the NFL Draft. Almost instantly, Johnson was projected to go in the top 5 picks, and the insane hype only grew once he completed his combine testing, where he ran a 4.35 40-yard dash despite weighing 235 pounds and measuring in at 6'5". That kind of speed is unheard of for a player that size. Even with his freakish athleticism, Johnson actually went 2nd overall to the Detroit Lions.
The Detroit Lions take wide receiver Calvin Johnson, Georgia.
After the Oakland Raiders took LSU QB Jamarcus Russell first. Russell became infamous for being one of the biggest draft busts of all time, so passing on Megatron was a major blunder. However, the Lions, in typical Lions fashion, were also initially planning to trade away the once-in-a-lifetime wide receiver after drafting him. It's one of the modern NFL's great what-if moments, because while the Lions ultimately made the right decision in keeping Johnson for the long haul, for Megatron, he was joining Detroit right as they entered the greatest low in franchise history. And this is a franchise with a lot of lows. But after 750 yards and 4 touchdowns in a solid rookie campaign in 2007, Johnson was the only saving grace on the 2008 Lions. Detroit went 0-16 that season, becoming the only team in NFL history to lose 16 games in a single season. Oh my God.
Hey! We get it! 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 We get it!
For the team was a great season for Calvin Johnson. He brought down 78 receptions for a whopping 1,331 receiving yards, despite catching passes from 3 different quarterbacks throughout the season. He also had 12 receiving touchdowns, which led the NFC. Yet somehow he was still not named to the Pro Bowl or the All-Pro teams.
Really? Oh, they hate it. 2008. Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, don't know who that is, Adrian Pearson, okay, Chris Johnson. And this is what I'm saying. Tells you how much of a GOAT back in the day was. Like, look at all these players. Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, AP, for just already. That's already 3 GOATs. Andre Johnson, remember him? I don't know how good he really was. Oh, he was on the Texans. Yeah, I do remember him actually, now I think about it. I think it was this was around the time I first started playing Madden in general. And I I remember on the Texans, he was OP. I remember literally I had the Saints. I think I was using the Saints, and my uncle was using the Texans, and he beat me. I remember it was a game-winning touchdown. He used a quick slant, and he threw it to Andre Johnson, bro. My corner couldn't stop him. Larry Fitzgerald, remember he's a GOAT for sure. That's just all these players already. Tony Gonzalez, Steve Smith, Jason Witten. Yo.
Johnson was stuck on a bad Lions roster that had a rotating cast at QB. But in 2009, there was hope in Detroit because they used their first overall pick in the draft to take QB Matthew Stafford, finally giving Johnson a franchise QB to build with. In 2009, Megatron put up 1,000 total scrimmage yards in Stafford's rookie season. But the Stafford-Johnson connection didn't properly begin due to the Lions' QB injury and development issues. Stafford played in just 10 games as a rookie, and then in 2010, he played in just 3 games. And he wasn't performing well either when he did play, throwing 21 interceptions over the 13 games that he suited. But despite having a rotating set of QBs during Stafford's second season, Johnson still caught 77 passes for 1,120 receiving yards and 12 touchdowns to make his first Pro Bowl in his 4th NFL season. After all the losses and several different quarterbacks, Megatron had proven to the NFL that it didn't matter who was throwing to him. He was going to make plays. And in 2011, when Stafford was healthy and NFL ready, the Lions' situation shifted dramatically. Johnson could finally reach his potential with one of the strongest arms in NFL history. And Johnson's ascension into Megatron status had truly begun. Despite Johnson's great 2010 season and the potential of a healthy Stafford, expectations were minimal. This was still a Lions franchise that was just a few years removed from a winless season. But Detroit quickly put the NFL world on notice. Megatron exploded into the season for the Lions as they won their opener against the Bears, going off for 88 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. In the red zone, just throw it up to Calvin and let him eat. The Lions were 5-0 after 5 games.
What happened to these jerseys? I think I actually remember these jerseys now I think about it.
The Lions.
We need to go back to these. This is drip right here, yo. No, this is drip. Now, okay, let me think. Now, honestly, me being a Lions fan, I really know the best way, and me being the best, the drippiest on YouTube right now. I can put your outfits together, no cap. Now, all black, this same one here is the OG, right? I don't know about them pants. Honestly, if we take the pants from our gray outfit, whether we have the gray helmet or is it blue helmet? Blue helmet, blue, gray, them gray, that gray one, them gray pants. That's what we need. All black socks, black shoes, and the helmet, gray helmet. That's drip right there. Okay, that's drip. That's drip. Cause the gray already look nice. Then the black. Come on now. Come on.
5-0 after 5 games. Megatron's numbers were even more impressive than the win streak. Johnson racked up 451 receiving yards and 9 touchdowns. The kind of stats that an average NFL receiver would be pleased with for his entire season. After a booming start, Detroit and Johnson went 2-5 over their next 7 contests. But Johnson was still performing at an elite level, averaging over 91 yards per game and adding another 3 touchdowns. Detroit wasn't living or dying by Megatron. He was just producing, regardless, like he had done his entire career. Johnson continued to be a dominant presence on the field as Detroit turned their season back around to finish with a 10-6 record. And when looking at the most unguardable stretch of his career, it starts at the end of the 2011 season. In Week 15, Johnson did something exceedingly rare, crossing the 200-yard mark for a receiver with 214 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns.
Every time I do this, they always do this, yo. Now, if I move my camera on the left side and you start putting it on the left side, I swear to God.
A 9-yard mark for a receiver with 214 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns on 9 receptions. Only a small percentage of receivers have reached that total, and only a fraction of those receivers have done it multiple times. So, because one time wasn't enough, with 244 receiving yards and a touchdown. Then Johnson made his postseason debut the following week against the New Orleans Saints by putting up another breathtaking performance with 211 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns in a 45-28
He just casually
loss.
dropped
For
200
starters,
yards.
that is the 7th most receiving yards.
Eric Mold. Who is that? You know Chris Carter. Never heard of Ty Hamilton. Reggie Wayne. Okay, Reggie Wayne. See, these are the OG players I gotta react to. Reggie Wayne. Only real NFL players know about Reggie Wayne. Steve Smith. Everybody. Jerry Rice. Come on now.
Yards in a playoff game ever, and Megatron did it in his first playoff game. Plus, he caught over 200 receiving yards 3 times in a 4-game stretch. He finished the season with 1,681 receiving yards and 16 touchdowns. And any NFL fan that wasn't aware of Johnson's ability had no choice but to respect how incredible he was now, as he was named a first-team All-Pro for the first time, in addition to making the Pro Bowl. Johnson's 2011 season was one for the ages, and it's almost too bad that it was immediately overshadowed by his even more memorable record-breaking season in 2012. Now that NFL defenses knew how good Johnson was, opposing coordinators and coaches did everything they could to stop him. But Johnson was a man on a mission, and Megatron proved that in Week 1, picking up right where he left off with 111 receiving yards against the St. Louis Rams. However, the first half of Johnson's season was not the memorable part of his 2012 campaign. It was still impressive because the Lions legend went over the 100-yard mark 3 times in 7 games, but a lot of great receivers can put up those numbers, and Megatron was not just another great receiver. He was different, and those who didn't know that found out starting in Week 9. What followed was something the NFL had literally never seen. 8 straight games with 100-plus
never saw it.
Receiving yards.
Just pick a side, bro.
Seen.
Pick a side.
8 straight games with 100-plus receiving yards. It was a new league record, and one that still stands. Johnson rattled off game after game of being simply unguardable, setting a record-breaking pace along the way. Over those 8 games, Johnson racked up 1,254 receiving yards and added 4 touchdowns. Essentially, Megatron put up all-pro numbers in the span of a half season. And what's possibly the most wild about that run is how bad the Lions were. Detroit went 1-7 in that span and would end up losing their final 8 games of the season, on their way to a 4-12 record. Entering the final 2 games of the season, Megatron was sitting at 1,667 receiving yards. Hall of Famer Jerry Rice's seemingly untouchable single-season receiving yards record, 1,841, was in reach, and Johnson had 2 weeks to reach it. Johnson exploded in Week 16, totaling 225 receiving yards in a monstrous performance.
Megatron into the record books, the single-season all-time NFL receiving yardage record.
Let's go.
A new goal appeared. 2,000 receiving yards, a total that no NFL receiver had ever reached, and Johnson came incredibly close.
Stafford to Calvin Johnson, 90 yards away from 2,000 now.
The Detroit icon could only catch 5 passes for 72 yards. It wasn't due to a lack of trying, though, as Stafford threw 14 passes at Johnson, but just could not get on target.
We can't catch a break, dog.
The Lions lost a tight 26-24 game to the Chicago Bears for their 8th straight loss, only rubbing more salt in the wound. But there was no question about Megatron's season. It was the most incredible single-season receiving performance in NFL history. He totaled 1,964 receiving yards, an NFL record that still stands today. He was also named a first-team All-Pro for the 2nd straight season. And while 2012 was the best season of Johnson's career, his greatest game actually came the following year. By 2013, Megatron putting up well over 1,000 receiving yards each season had become normalized. But what wasn't normal was totaling over 300 yards in a single game. In a 31-30 barn burner win over the Dallas Cowboys, Johnson caught a staggering 14 passes for 329 yards and a touchdown. The performance ranks as the 2nd all-time in terms of total receiving yards in a game, and Megatron would not stop there, because in 2013, he put up 1,492 receiving yards and 12 touchdowns in just 14 games. It was the 3rd consecutive year he averaged over 100 yards per game, and his 3rd straight season as a first-team All-Pro, one of the most dominant 3-year stretches the NFL has ever seen. The following season, in 2014, he only played in 13 games, but still put up 1,077 receiving yards. Then, coming into 2015, fans would have never expected that Johnson was approaching the end of his career. He was not far removed from his record-breaking years, and he was still consistently going over the 1,000-yard mark. Even in 2015, Johnson totaled 1,214 receiving yards and 9 touchdowns, but he had reached his limit. After setting countless franchise and league records, on March 8, 2016, Megatron officially announced that he would be hanging it up after 9 NFL seasons. Despite only missing 8 games in his entire career, the physical toll the game took on his body had become too much. Johnson later stated that the team refused to trade him, and their inability to compete for a championship also played into his decision. Johnson played in just 2 playoff games in his 9-year career. But even without a team around him, Megatron always found a way to ball out. And because of this, in his first year of eligibility, Johnson was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, immortalized as the most unguardable player the league has ever seen. And if you want more of the greatest NFL stories, click this video right here.
He definitely is, bro. He definitely is. Most unguardable right here. Let me know any of the players you want me to react to. Also, too, about 31 minutes to the video. If you're watching this far, we're going to play a little game, all right? The game is to comment a word, all right? Word of the day. Calvin Johnson. Comment Calvin Johnson so I know who's watching.